Hi, Michael. Could
Hi
you?
Melissa, how are you? How are
I'm
you?
I'm well, thank you. Could you start by introducing yourself and explaining your role as an FX trader, particularly in the context of international property transactions?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Michael Vaughan. I'm the founder and owner of a company called SwiftFX. I started the business 3 years ago, but I've actually been in the industry for cool, nearly 20 years now. But the reason I started SwiftFX was I found that maybe a lot of the larger brokers, some that I'd worked for previously, were going down a route that I wasn't particularly comfortable with. And what I mean by that is a lot of them were starting to move their clients to an automated online system. And I'm maybe a bit old school in my approach, but I like to speak to clients. I like to sort of gain an understanding of what they're doing, build a bit of rapport, help them throughout their process. And I wasn't comfortable with necessarily, clients moving online and doing it themselves. So hence SwiftFX was formed back in 2022. And since then, pleased to say it's grown. I've done plenty of transactions, including plenty of transactions to Cyprus, and hopefully many more to come.
Bravo. So, what drew you to specialize in managing currency risk for clients investing abroad? And how does your experience benefit British buyers looking to invest in Cyprus?
Well, it's my belief that by offering, a bespoke one-to-one service, it can really only help the client throughout their purchasing process. You've got to understand they're moving a lot of money, like sometimes life savings, and again, this goes back to where I didn't feel comfortable necessarily with this whole kind of automated system. I understand the modern world. I understand that a lot of people are comfortable with that, but you still have a lot of traditional clients that want to speak to people, including meeting face to face, and that's something that I've always grown up with in the industry, and I feel more comfortable doing that. And I think you find a lot of people find that beneficial, talking to somebody, talking over the markets, gaining an understanding of exactly what they're looking to achieve only helps the whole process, and it helps clients, you want to make the process as smooth as possible. And I think that's what helps fundamentally.
Yeah. And from your perspective, how do the fluctuations between the British pound and the euro affect the overall cost and planning of property transactions in Cyprus?
Not just Cyprus, around the world. But
Mm,
yeah, obviously it can have a major impact, and that is where it is really key to have somebody working in your corner.
mm,
And that is something that we will do here at SwiftFX. I will take a really kind of in-depth look at what a client is looking to achieve. The
mm,
process of buying a property can range anywhere from 3 or 4 months. If you're buying off plan and it's stage payments, it could be 1 to 2 years. Now, in
mm.
that time frame, exchange rates can change a great deal. You've only got to look at what happened, for example, over the course of the US election. I know you
Mm,
deal with a lot of US clients investing
yeah.
in Cyprus. Over the course of the election and start of November and Trump's inauguration on the 20th of
Mm,
January, you saw nearly a 9% swing in exchange rates,
mhm.
which, if you're on the right side of it, that's great. If
Yeah.
you're in the wrong side of it, it's not so great. So it's really, really important for me to have a solid sort of viewpoint of the markets, and I will
Mm,
always take an in-depth look at how it's trading and try and build a strategy for a client,
mm,
because you don't want them to budget at a level that's unachievable
mhm.
ultimately. So they are obviously key. It's not the be all and end all, don't get me wrong, but
Mm.
it is something that has to be at the forefront of clients' minds for sure.
And on that note, what are the most common currency related risks that buyers face when investing in Cyprus property?
I would say, what ultimately drives the market. So I always say to a client, you kind of got three major factors: sort of political instability, economic instability, and the most important driver of exchange rates, interest rates and interest
Mm,
rate speculation. During times of certainty, the market is more calm. during times of uncertainty, both politically and economically, you see a lot of variations in exchange rates. And that's something that we've seen quite significantly. As I say, I go back to the US election and the market
Hmm.
movements that we saw towards the back end of last year. And if you look at it from the pounds perspective, you go back to the October budget and the first budget of this new Labour government.
Mm.
Whether you're a fan of this new Labour government or not, their budget and the increase in taxes has had an impact,
Mm.
and it had an impact on exchange rates. And you've got to make sure that you strategize,
Mm.
and being in touch with a broker is key to that.
Hmm. So could you explain the hedging strategies that you use to mitigate these risks and how they work in practice?
So here at Swift, we have a number of contract types that we can offer. The standard contract is a spot transaction,
Hmm.
where a client might turn around and say, "I need to buy €500,000. What's your price?" We fix the price, they settle, we send the money on.
Mm.
But in terms of strategizing over a period of, maybe 3 to 6 months, the most common contract we offer is something called a forward contract.
Hmm.
And a forward contract is very simply a contract where a client can fix at today's price, but we deliver the currency at an agreed date in the future.
Hmm.
That is agreed by the client, the date in the future, and that is when they have to settle on the position. We normally take a nominal deposit, anywhere between 5 and 7% to fix the contract. That comes off the balance, so you're not paying a premium to buy the particular contract.
Hmm.
But what it does is it gives you peace of mind, because if that exchange rate changes between the date that you buy and the date you complete, it doesn't matter. You're locked in. So you know exactly what the property is going to cost you. That is proving incredibly popular at the
Mm.
moment. If you're a cash buyer and you've got full funds available,
Mhm.
maybe you don't need to look at that. You can buy your position up front or hedge, buy it in chunks. But the beauty of a forward contract is if your funds aren't fully available, maybe you're reliant on a house sale to get the balance of your funds, but
Mm.
you've got enough to cover the deposit, then we can do something for you.
It's
So it
amazing.
is it is a really, really key contract, I think, particularly when buying property.
Mm. So, how do you typically work with clients to help them secure favorable exchange rates when purchasing property? And what does the process look like from your side?
So what I like to do is gain a full understanding of, firstly, a client's expectation. I will say
Mm.
to them, have you budgeted? Have you looked closely at exchange rates over a period of time? Have you seen, the highs, the lows? And
Mm.
never budget at the high. Simple as that, because the chances of buying at that particular high are quite remote. So
Mm.
I would say take a 3 to 6 month period, maybe take an average exchange rate and take your budget off that price. And if you buy at that level or better, then great. That's
Mm.
kind of something I would always try and get across to a client. Manage their expectations. Human nature, we always want to buy at the absolute high or at the cheaper. And unfortunately, it just doesn't often work like that.
Mm.
So to put a strategy in place is key, as I said before, and
Mm.
just keeping them updated with market trends, movements. Again, just really, really adds to the service.
So, are there specific tools or digital platforms that you recommend to track and manage currency risk during these transactions?
Yeah, Swift's
Mm.
platform. I mean,
Yeah.
we have every client that registers with us will be given access to an online platform.
Mhm.
It's available 24/7, so you can get real time pricing. You can see graphs. You can see how the market is trending throughout a period of time. Other than that, just using the knowledge of your broker.
Yep.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
If you've got any questions or you want to speak to us about anything, pop us an
Perfect.
email, give us a call, and we'll give you some insight.
That's great. So, how do you collaborate with estate agents then to ensure that both the property and the currency aspects of the transaction are aligned for a smooth purchase process?
So it's for me as an estate agent such as yourself. I mean, we've worked together for a number of years now, haven't we,
Hmm.
Melissa? And
Yeah.
I just think an estate agent should look to the service of a broker as an extension of their service.
Yep.
We are here ultimately to try and save your client money, and there aren't
Hmm.
many clients that aren't happy to hear from people if they're gonna save you money.
Yeah.
So, we really kind of try and tell that to all agents that we work with that, use us as a springboard to help you make that sale.
Hmm.
And it works, and something that we will often do as well. We'll not only keep in touch with your clients, but we'll make sure we keep in touch with you, the
Hmm.
solicitor or notary
You
that's
do.
involved.
Yep.
Everybody is in the loop. Everybody knows where the money is, and everybody knows that the money's going to get there by a particular completion date.
Hmm.
Becomes particularly useful, as I say, on stage payments, or if you're going through a purchase and you're developing the property over a period of time, and you have to have funds there by a particular date.
Hmm.
Same way with a completion date. By keeping in constant contact and letting everybody know where the money is, just helps the whole process run a lot smoother.
Hmm. So, in your experience, what benefits does this integrated approach bring to British clients buying property in Cyprus?
I'm hoping it takes a little bit of the stress away
Mm,
from buying the property. It's
yeah.
again, it is a stressful process, whether you try and hide that or not. It is. You're moving a large sum of money, but
Hmm.
you've also got to sort of gently remind these people that in many occasions you're buying that property that you've been dreaming of for a number of years. So
Mm,
try and enjoy the process. Let the people that have done this for a number of years, let the specialists that are involved in this area take that stress away from you. And that's what we like to try and do. Whether it always works, I don't know, but hopefully we can make that process a little bit easier for the clients.
mm. For buyers who are new to international property investments, what key indicators or market signals should they monitor from an FX perspective?
Again, going back to what I said before, just keep, obviously it is key to keep an eye out on day-to-day financial markets, but don't get too beaten up by it.
Hmm.
The markets change every couple of seconds. So, if you're constantly chasing a particular price, you'll drive yourself crazy. So,
Mm,
and again, that's where we come into play. Part of
yeah.
our service is to keep clients fully up to date with exactly how the market is trending.
Hmm.
And I will say to a client, if you've got a budget and you've got a target level, but we're not at that particular level, are you happy if I keep you up to date and give you a call or add you on WhatsApp and send you a message if there's a change in price? And
Hmm.
of course, 99 times out of 100, they say yes. And that's what we do. So, utilize the broker and their potential knowledge of the market to help try and maximise your trade, I would say.
Mm. So, what advice would you give British buyers regarding planning for the potential currency volatility during their property purchase journey?
Again, don't get too hooked up on exchange rates.
Hmm.
They are a key component, but it's not the be all and end all. But set yourself a realistic budget. When you go to put that offer in, don't just take the particular price on that day. Have a look at the market, have a look at sin and see how it's traded over a significant period of time. I would say a minimum of 6 months, if I'm honest. And
Hmm.
even if you budget at the lowest point within that time frame, the chances are you're probably going to buy at a price above what
Hmm.
you've budgeted at, and that can only be a good thing. So
Mm.
it is key, and it does happen an awful lot. I'm afraid a lot of people will see a particular exchange rate. They might be pushing their budget a little bit more to get this particular property. And by the time they come to, 3, 4 months down the line, if the price has fallen 3 or 4% and you're buying €500,000,
Mm.
that's 25,000 quid. It's a lot of money,
Yeah.
and they can get caught in that trap. So just be sensible and realistic, I would
Yeah.
say.
Good advice. So, finally, what is the single most important takeaway you'd like British buyers to understand about the role of an FX trader when investing in international property?
Use their knowledge.
Mm.
I'm not saying I know everything, but I've done this for 20 years, and
Yeah.
I've got an understanding as to what can impact exchange rates, what
Mhm.
data sets that come out, from the UK, from the Eurozone, from the US that can impact currency markets and the potential impact it will have on exchange rates as well. So just have a really in-depth conversation with your broker, get an understanding, tell them what you're looking to try and achieve, and hopefully between the two of you, you can strategize and reach that end goal.
Perfect. So how can clients best prepare themselves to take full advantage of FX strategies to secure their property investments abroad?
Oh, I mean, if you're fortunate enough to be in a sort of position where you're a cash buyer,
Hmm.
then great. If not, then maybe go back to what I mentioned before and
Yeah.
consider the use of something like a forward contract.
Hmm.
They're not for everybody. Not everybody wants to use them, and there will be cases where a client buys and the price increases.
Hmm.
They might have been able to get a better exchange rate when the property completes. But what it does build in is security, and it
Yeah.
allows you to budget. So I'm a really big fan of forward contracts, particularly for those buying, not necessarily those selling. And the only reason I say that those that are selling is because you're possibly less in control of when the money's going to come through to you because
Mm.
there are third party influences such as solicitors and other completing factors as to when the money's going to be available. But those buying, you're in a bit more control. You know where your money is, when you're
Mm.
going to have it available. So utilize those contracts. And as I say, forward contracts really come into their own for me in the property world.
So interesting. Thank you so much, Michael. I hope that our audience found this conversation engaging and it shed some light on the strategic value that FX traders like yourself can bring to the property purchasing process when we're talking about transferring these huge sums of money and ultimately benefiting foreign clients by saving money in investing in Cyprus. So thank you very much, Michael.
No,
It was
thank
nice
you
to
for
speak
having
to
me. All
you.
right.
We'll be
Thanks,
in touch.
Melissa. Take
Thank
care.
you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.